Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to take some time and talk about the ongoing Taiga situation. I know a lot of people have been waiting for my coverage of what's going on, but I wanted to take my time to craft this video in a way that's actually going to be productive, or hope to be productive, for Taiga's situation and also for Taiga's reputation that continues to be smeared by false allegations. So who is Taiga? Well, they are a femboy VTuber who's been around for many years. In fact, their YouTube channel was approaching 200,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, about a month and a half ago, his channel was removed entirely from YouTube, and the policy that he apparently violated was nudity and sexual content. Now, Taiga does make some content that is lewder, but it is nothing close to full-on nudity or explicit sexual content. In fact, the type of content he makes is very common in the VTubing scene among channels that don't get their entire channel taken away like this. And unfortunately, his appeal to this decision would be rejected on July 2nd. However, the very next day, his channel would suddenly return with an official statement from YouTube saying their content is free to exist on YouTube. However, 6 hours after that, the channel was removed again, just 6 hours later after returning. And besides the cruelty of dangling this channel in front of Taiga and then taking it back, also Taiga had gotten their silver play button for getting 100,000 subscribers during all of this mess. And on top of that, it just shows the inconsistency of YouTube and its policies, where 1 minute your content is totally fine for the platform and even monetizable, and then 6 hours later, that same content is so dangerous, it has to be removed entirely. And to make the situation even worse, shortly after that, Taiga's official Twitter account would be suspended. Now, looking at everything going on, clearly there's some false reports, and over the years, Taiga has amassed a lot of harassers, including some stalkers. Now, why does this all happen? Well, those are intertwined with a series of false allegations that Taiga was facing, false allegations that accused him of grooming someone. Now, those have been since debunked and also Taiga exonerated. However, during the time of that exoneration and also after he was exonerated, a lot of people in the VTubing scene continued to spread these false allegations and to slander Taiga. Now, there's been multiple people in the VTubing scene who are responsible for a lot of the damage done to Taiga's reputation. We're first going to look at Marina VT. We have talked about Marina before. She is constantly in controversy. She's stirring up drama and also is a supporter of the Hogwarts Legacy harassment campaign. She was also the VTuber who falsely believed a few months ago that she could stream a nude VTuber model on Twitch, where she would eventually be temporarily suspended. But on top of that, she has had it out for Taiga for years. She has been harassing and slandering Taiga for years. And you can see posts, even ones that have recent replies as recent as 2023, where she has used what is now debunked evidence to claim that Taiga is this dangerous person, needs to be blacklisted from the VTubing scene, and also that he is some kind of a predator. And you can see other members of the VTubing scene jumping on this, friends of Marina, supporting this false narrative about Taiga, and that checks out because, as a former friend here has commented, apparently at the time Marina, for a good period of time, was encouraging her friends to support these slanderous posts about Taiga. And the reason she was doing all this was not for justice, it wasn't for bringing awareness, it was simply made because she had it out for Taiga. And even after learning that he had been exonerated, she kept making posts claiming that he is some predator. And when finally confronted with all this stuff, we would see a response from Marina, her attempt at an apology.
You know, and I will even, if Taiga watches this, like, I am sorry.
And of course, if we're talking about reputational damage in the VTubing scene involving Taiga, we have to talk about Nux Taku, who about 2 years ago made this collab video with who else but Moist Critical, where you can see it has 350,000 views. It was a VTuber drama tier list type video. And of course, Charlie is not super aware of a lot of the VTuber controversy, so Nux would have to explain them to him. And when Taiga came up, Taiga was described by Nux as a predator.
Is this HoloLive?
No, Taiga is an indie streamer who, I don't know the whole story, but Taiga was outed to be a
Oh, I don't know the whole story, but oh, We want to talk about out of context, bro.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, him saying that he was not aware of the full situation, but then felt comfortable enough to slander Taiga is ridiculous. But eventually, a lot of people would start harassing Taiga as a result of this clip. And eventually, Taiga would challenge Nux Taku and basically say these are false allegations. And eventually, Nux would leave a pinned comment where he addresses several things. First of all, trying to apologize, but also saying that he's aware that Taiga is being investigated by a private investigator who's looking into these claims made against them. This was made about 2 years ago, this pinned comment. And also, he said if these allegations were proven to be untrue, he would likely make a follow-up video either with Charlie or somewhere separate, right? And you can see the impact of this pinned comment. It only has 169 likes all these years later, but the video itself has 350,000. Too little too late in many people's eyes, but we also have a public accusation being followed up with a private apology. He privately apologized to Taiga about this situation. But let's fast forward. So there was an investigation going on, and there was a private investigator who is specialized in these sorts of accusations who went in independently and looked at everything going on in this situation. This document is still available. You can find it on Twitter if you want to. But to sum it up, the private investigator found that this whole situation was based on unfounded claims. Essentially what happened was there was 3 individuals who were ex-members of Taiga's community who became disgruntled, and also some of them went on to stalk Taiga and came up with this scheme to slander them through all of these false accusations, including allegations of grooming. Now, as it turns out, a lot of the evidence was either completely faked or cropped out of context, or in many cases, there was comments being made about fictional characters and they were being framed as comments about real people. And all of this was done to slander Taiga. And as the evidence turns out, he was not guilty of any of these things, and the investigator exonerated Taiga. It's been a long time. That exoneration came out in 2022. We are now more than halfway through 2024, and we haven't heard any official response from Nux. In fact, the only mention I can find of Nux Taku regarding Taiga came about 6 months ago on the Some Ordinary podcast, where he mentions it about 20 minutes into the podcast, by the way, which was not about Taiga. It was just an offhand remark about false allegations.
Do things, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a past thing. Like, there was the VTuber that was canceled for allegedly doing weird grooming type shit. And like, I was in a video and I was talking about it, and I also alleged that he did that because close friends of mine told me, and I saw, you know, creepy conversations of him talking to kids and or talking about kids and, you know, liking little boys and stuff like that. Who knows if it's a joke, you know? And like, I alleged it also because a friend told me, and I regret it because he you know, I don't know if it's true. He ended up coming back with some sort of response. I don't know, this guy Bungo Taiga, and I apologized to him privately that I even alleged something like that, and like, because a friend told me, and I believed him.
Muda put out a good tweet last night.
That's the hardest part of this whole thing.
The thing that has bothered a lot of people, including Taiga, is that even all this time later, way after the exoneration has been very well known publicly, he still uses terms like allegedly to describe what's going on with Taiga, and also he relies very much on the fact that he privately apologized to Taiga. It's like the get out of jail free card in this situation. However, hearing Taiga's reaction to this clip, it sounds like it's not enough for them. I don't think they're satisfied with a private apology, and one that doesn't even really sound that good to begin with.
I know this guy Bungo Taiga, and I apologized to him privately that...
Let me be clear. Let me check exactly what he said. If I do a sequel with Charlie, I was planning on it, I'll try to clear the record more publicly. I'll also do more research. Again, I don't know right now, however, I'll try to rectify any extra damage I caused and hope you can accept my apology. This was in December 22nd, 2022. 2022! He said he was going to make a sequel video with Moist Critical. Video never came.
Now, I want to speak briefly about my own experience dealing with Nux Taku. So about 2 years ago, I made a video covering some very hypocritical statements made by him, where he made this response video shortly after. And you can see the thumbnail. I mean, he's just throwing around these slanderous things left and right. And when, you know, confronted on this whole thing, he basically said, because I paraphrased some of the things he was saying in my thumbnail, he had full range to do whatever he wanted in his thumbnail, including saying slanderous things like this that have been used to harass me. But on top of that, this video was about his hypocrisy. So there was many different statements I collected of him saying disparaging things about people who enjoy lolly content, where I countered by saying, you have lolicon in your thumbnails and you've used it as a parts of your content. This makes you a hypocrite. In fact, he wouldn't really address this in his response video, but instead would secretly go behind the scenes and start changing all of his old thumbnails. But that video itself was an absolute disaster. I mean, I never made an official response to it because I didn't really feel like I needed to, but I want to bring it up now because I think there's several quotes from Nux that really relates to the Taiga situation. You can see the video itself. It is probably his most disliked video on any of his channels, but it was off to a terrible start when he began by saying he uploaded this on his alt channel, not his main channel, because if he did on his main channel, I likely would have been deplatformed.
If I make a video roasting this dude on my main channel, YouTube will literally deplatform him. Like, YouTube actually watches my stuff, especially ever since I've been on the Some Ordinary podcast. YouTube has really been paying attention to like what we've been saying, and I'll be honest, if I would make a video on him on the main channel, I do think he'd get taken down for either bullying or the whole weird pedo stuff. Like one or the other. I do think so. Which is, and I don't want to be that guy that, you know, a video gets made on me, I make a video on him back, and then YouTube takes him down. So I didn't want to even touch that.
Yeah, obviously that wasn't a very good start and a very egotistical statement to say the least. But going on from there, he would not really address any of the points in my video. He largely focused on insulting me and also shadowboxing points that I never raised, and also bringing in random third-party VTubers who had nothing to do with my video. He also went out of his way to drag my wife into the situation, who had literally nothing to do with the situation, but he made a completely baseless accusation that she was going around asking various VTubers for dirt on Nux that I could use in my video.
And then also, talking about bad faith, this dude went around, and his wife, they were asking VTubers that are friends of mine for dirt on me. They were literally asking VTubers for dirt on me privately, which is like, wow, this dude literally just wanted to make a video to try and take me down, which is hilarious because he should have known from past exploits that I'm not going to get canceled, let alone by the lolly community. So it's pretty scum. It's pretty scum.
Now, ironically, Nux is currently dealing with his own set of allegations being made against him. So in the wake of the Chris Tyson situation, a lot of people are going on a witch hunt involving Shadman, where they're looking for anyone who's ever had interactions with Shadman, and they're now accusing them of all kinds of things, including being a predator and also being friends with a predator at the very least. And Nux is one of those people who has had some private and public interactions with Shadman, including interactions like this where he asked Shadman to collab, where people are trying to accuse him of things based on that. And I think a lot of these accusations coming out of the Shadman situation involving people he had brief interactions with are over the top. But Nux claims this collab he was asking for was actually to confront him on his various illegal activity, among other things. And I don't know if we're going to get more information about this because Nux is going to stream. He's currently on vacation. And when he comes back, he sounds like he's going to address what's going on here, which seems a very fitting time to address what's going on with Taiga, because he is facing false allegations. And why not address those while also addressing the false allegations against Taiga, and also try to help signal boost the situation involving the various platforms he has been banned on. But let's not get too lost in the sauce here. Let's go back to Taiga, who has been removed from multiple platforms at this point, 2 out of their 3 biggest platforms. And people are looking around and trying to figure out who did this. And of course, we had this mention earlier of various stalkers, and some of them have claimed responsibility for this. But based on the number of people who have harassed Taiga over the years, it could be the responsibility of the stalkers, it could be the responsibility of the harassers, it could be a mix of those things. But at the end of the day, the conclusion is still the same. Taiga has been removed from these platforms and it needs to be fixed. In fact, the only remaining large platform Taiga has left is their Twitch channel, which is also being threatened by these stalkers who are basically asking for Taiga to pay attention to certain things or pay attention to them, or they're going to mass flag the Twitch account, which is still up as we're talking. But I think a lot of this has to do with these stalkers wanting attention. And again, I raise all these things to get YouTube and also Twitter involved, hopefully, to reset the false reports here. And on top of that, I want to give some hope. As hopeless as it might seem, there's other situations going on with false reporting that have been resolved. So I talked about this on a different video recently where a Shy Lily clip channel named Pierre was banned for impersonation. And of course, Shy Lily came forward to say they had full permission to use her clips for their content, and they would have to come back multiple times. This happened over the course of 3 weeks before there was a resolution where Shy Lily was persistently asking YouTube to fix the situation, where finally, only a couple days ago, the channel was reinstated and that was solved. Now, I know Taiga's situation is very upsetting and they've been sharing various messages. People have screenshotted their Discord, among other things. And obviously, Taiga's not in a good place. And that's one of the reasons why I want to make this video, to give some moral support if I can't fix anything else. I mean, at the end of the day, it is hard to get responses out of YouTube and Twitter. And if anyone in the audience has some sort of a connection, I would definitely encourage you to help out Taiga in the situation and bring awareness. But right now, that's really the best we can do, is not only establish what's going on with Taiga, but also address some of the continued misinformation surrounding Taiga and the false allegations that people are still sharing and relying on. And people in this situation too, a lot of the harassers, they're celebrating these platforms being taken away, and they're continuing to share the false allegations against Taiga, and it's unfortunate. So I would like to set the record straight on everything and let you guys know what's going on with the situation and the kind of misinformation that has surrounded it. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.